I was just wondering how you think technology like artificial intelligence and automation will impact our industry in the near term.
Coming from the automation field, it's already here. I mean, automation is, we think about all the different IoT, Internet of Things, and big data, and what we're going to do with the data. It's definitely going to impact what we do and how we work, and we just need to work with it. It's coming. It's here already. And there's already a lot of companies that are doing the artificial intelligence or smarter electronics. But we just have to adapt, and we have to change, and it's here already. So we just have to learn to work with it.
The IoT is, it's talked a lot about for a lot of different reasons. And by 2020, 50 billion things are going to be connected to the internet. Think about 50 billion things. And, it's funny, some of them will want connected and some of them we won't. My phone seems to tell me that, as soon as I get in my car, how the quickest way to get home, I'm like, why are you even tracking that, right? And so I think that, those types of things, connected devices, right? And how does that help us, right? We've got, how much can we get information directly from the manufacturer right to the customer in terms of the production line and where their products are, right? And we get information faster, or we get every truck low jacked, and a customer can just go look it up, or we can give our customers better information in terms of that. When we're talking about a plant floor, right, we can make products, faster, better, cheaper. We can reduce energy costs and hopefully, really go after some of these tough challenges we have around climate change with the use of big data and with the use of more energy efficient technology. I think all of these will affect our industry in really big ways, and it affects the home. It's a lot of us have fully connected homes, and we can turn off our lights by talking to Alexa or by touching things on our phone and really understanding those types of things. And we've got to get ahead of that so that we become the experts in it. So that the people who install that, the people who build that, the people who use that can come to us for that relationship from that level of expertise. But it's an ever-changing piece of our industry, and if we're the knowledge experts on it, and we can understand big data, and we can help at the core get our customers what they need when they need it. We can do great things.
Chris Mitchell, Mayor Electric. Vito, when you were describing your next career, what your satisfaction is right now, a key word I caught is mentoring people to avoid the mistakes that you made in your career. Can you, and any one of you guys on the panel, talk about a mistake that you made in your career, share that story, and really, when did you find out it was a mistake?
Thank you for bringing that up. I think there are a lot of life lessons that we learn and things we don't realize are mistakes until afterwards. This wasn't necessarily a mistake, but something I wish I would have done differently is all of you are probably working for a company that has a 401k plan. If you're not maximizing your contribution to your 401k right now, you should be. Put your 3% or 6% in to get that maximum match. Leave it there and don't touch it. When I was in my early 20s, I worked for a company. I went out of college, went to work for a company, Eaton Corporation. They sent me through a training school and then assigned you anywhere in the country. The area that I was assigned in was an area that had a lot of traffic, and I was complaining to one of the senior sales guys at the time, and he said, well, you could always move to Hawaii. We're looking for a rep out in Hawaii. So I went back to the office, and back then it was a company book, so I looked it up and went to the H's and looked up the rep in Hawaii and ended up convincing him to interview me and meet with me out there. And I went to work for 5 years in Hawaii. That wasn't the mistake. I think the mistake was cashing in my 401k in order to do it and get out there. and then trying to play catch up for the years after that. While it was a great experience, I'd highly recommend finding, at a young age, multiple, ways that you can pay for something other than tapping into that nest egg. So.
There's just too many.
That is working. Michael Vendito with Rexel. Specifically, if someone's targeting an upper management role or a director role, what experience should they look for in their career to get to that level? Not values specifically. I was talking with someone yesterday, and we were going back and forth about P&L experience, for example. Because if I talk with people who are in the industry 30, 35 years, it's you start off outside sales, inside sales, you get a branch, and then you figure it out. You go from there, and then we can talk. And then I'm curious if that's something you agree with, or if there's something else that you would turn the conversation towards. So specifically, in terms of career development, what experience would you see as fundamental to upper management, being able to run a group, a division, an area, whatever it may be?
I think it's development in people, and the leadership that you would have when running a business is really building that relationship with people, building that network with people, and surrounding yourself with your team of people that you want, that can help you get the business to the next level. I think from a training perspective, people development is critical in getting to that next level and understanding people, understanding social styles. If you've ever taken the quiz on the social styles, there's the driver, the amiable, the expressive, and the I'm forgetting the fourth one, but understanding your style, and then also understanding how to communicate and work with people that are not like you. I think that's important because you can relate more to them and dealing with them, but just people development and understanding how to deal with different types of styles of individuals, I think is important.
I think that's a fantastic question, something that our industry is struggling with, because you're exactly right. That path was the very traditional path. And I think that there's a lot of people that have gone that path that would say that that's the right path and still agree that that's the right path. I didn't take that path, so I'm a little more biased than others. The things that we ask of our senior leaders at a director, at a VP, senior VP, whatever level, are not the same things that we ask of somebody running a P&L. It's a completely different skill set. So that strategic thinking, multi-year modeling, the planning, those type of things. How are you thinking about things in 3 and 5 year increments? How are you looking at the long term? And your decision-making skills, critical thinking. Those are the things that you're looking for in a successful senior leader. That's not always what it takes to run a branch day to day. It's just not. And those skills aren't always transferable, quite frankly. So I think, again, those higher level skills are things that you can get, and you can still, obviously, I'm not saying you can't go through the more traditional path, but you absolutely can be done through those other more traditional business skills, I would call them.
It's a great question, Mike. And I would say, first the question is why do we have those paths? Right, and I've been in conversations a lot and said, well, if you want to be a region manager, first you got to start here and then do this and then do this and then do this, and I think it's a way for a company to guarantee competency, or at least have a lot higher, faith that these competencies and these skills, and that you understand everything about the organization. I'd say, but I would also say, if a couple things that I look for. And that we look for is the ability to solve problems. Okay, so the ability to go above and beyond and to look outside the scope of your job, and to really sit down and are you looking at your boss's role, or you're looking in your company outside your job and saying, hey, there's a problem that interests me, can I fix it, right? Are different ways to build skill sets while you're still in your current job. It's also a way to set yourself apart. And I would tell you, career paths work, and people will look for career paths until they don't have anybody who's followed a career path, which happens every day, right? And so I would say to that, if you want to go on upper management, and I think, people, demeanor is so important, right? Are you a stalwart, and are you a rock when trouble comes, right? These are skill sets, because as a leader, when a leader walks into the room, their attitude dictates everyone else in the room, right? Can that person solve problems? Right? That's huge. I mean, it's not only the problems, for the people above you, but can you solve the problems for the people below you? And does the organization have confidence? And if you do those things, then I think that the, people in your organization, they'll want to give you those next roles, because they'll say, hey, wait, this, I know it hasn't taken every step that we'd like to see, but I have faith he can solve problems. I have faith that she can get it done. I have, and I have faith that they're a rock through really hard situations, and that's what I look for in leaders, in addition to the high energy and those types of things.
Eric Wizikowski from United Electric Supply. Jill, I noticed in your title the word service. I wanted to get your thoughts on the importance of services in our industry going forward. The box in, box out model. And anyone on the panel, really, their thoughts as well. Just what does that mean for the future of our industry? Thank you.
Well, I think, and someone said it earlier, value-added services is a big buzzword right now, and I don't disagree. I think that is how we're going to differentiate ourselves. How do we set ourselves apart? Are the services we provide? Amazon is not going to kit, stage, ship, show up on a job site, unwrap things, offer the traditional services that we can. It's going to take more innovation for us as an industry, though, for our services and the things that we do provide to outweigh that. Because Amazon they have that on-time delivery thing down pat, and those things that sometimes we struggle with. So it's all of those other things that we have to be better than those other competitors, and it comes down to the people and the additional things we're going to offer, and charge for it. I would be remiss, the operations side of me, that is something that we struggle with. We all do. So the sales side of me is like, oh, sure, we can do that. And we'll, and the operation sides of me will say, man, we're very valuable. What we do, our people are very valuable. And there is a cost to that, a fair cost to that. So we have to keep that in mind as well.
I'd also say, look for service disruptors and not just follow on services that you see your competitors doing. Always go after best practices. But has anybody here used Uber or Airbnb? Right? Fantastic companies. These are disruptive services, right? Airbnb, 8 years old, right? Has 3 million rooms that you can go online right now. Hilton Hotels, which is the largest hotel chain, has 1 million rooms. So that it disrupt, and it took 100 years to build for Conrad to build Hilton Hotels. And Hilton Hotels is still doing very well. We're in a very nice hotel, so the hotel industry hasn't changed. But Airbnb created a very disruptive service that allowed it to quickly, to the tunes of 3x the best player in the market, increase room availability. And so when we look at services, and what we're all looking for is what's that disruptive service? What is our industrial or our contractor or OEM customer? What's really going to help them, drive to the next level and be a disruptive service in the business? And then that's what you should all be looking for. And if you find it, please call me at
or me.
And at the same time, we need to keep in mind that our customers and our contractors and the people that we deal with are sitting in a conference right at this moment thinking, asking a panel, how can we get distributors to provide more services without us having to pay for it? So.
Good. We have a question back here.
Hello. Hi, my name is Jared. I'm with Keystone. Question for you is, as upper management, how do you handle underperforming employees? Like, how do you motivate an underperforming employee to bring them up to speed? And I'm sure it's a challenge that a lot of people have.
I'll speak to that from a prior role. I'm not in a role now where I have direct reports. I'm responsible for 17 branches of marketing and work with our branch managers and operations folks on employee development. And so the key, I think, is recognizing those underperforming folks early, having regular conversations, reviews with them, making sure that they're aware that something needs to be done differently, and it may just be that they've never been taught the right way. If you look at some of the branch managers in our industry, they've been phenomenal outside salespeople. A branch manager opens up, we give them the key to the office and a phone and say, if there's anything you need, let us know. So we don't always train them as well as we should, but I think being clear and attentive and setting those incremental goals with those individuals, and then addressing it when those goals aren't being properly met.
I think you also have to assess right up front, are they in the right seat on the right bus? So they might be on the right bus. They may be coming to work every day. They might be trying their best. I mean, there's a lot of great things. It might not be the right seat. Is there a different seat where they would be more successful? Or are they just on the wrong bus and they need to go, enjoy their career somewhere else. So you have to kind of make those determinations to determine how much effort and energy you're going to put into that underperformer. I will tell you, as leaders, we spend an inordinate amount of time on our bottom versus our top, and an inordinate amount of time of not getting our middle to the top. So that's a big thing to think about. How do you get that middle group, which is probably your biggest group, up instead of moving them down? So ensuring that underperforming folks aren't there. You're not having that same conversation a year, 2 years, 3 years. That's a problem. Knowing when to cut the cord.
Yeah, I think it's important to start right, and that's be very critical about the skill set, especially if it's somebody within the organization, on where they may falter and where you think their strengths lie, because that's when you first start, you are very amiable to coaching, right? You want to be coached and you want to be watched, you want to be trained, and the further you go down, you don't look at those limiters as delimiters. So I think it's very important that you look and you say, hey, is this a very active, strong, passionate employee who just isn't being trained or taught or told in the right way, or is this somebody we got to get off the bus?